Hi ladies and gentlemen, so today we're taking a look at writing and solving proportions. So we're going to define proportion, learn how to write them, and then use some logic and reasoning to solve the proportions as well. So a proportion is an equation that states that two ratios are equal. So when we can have two ratios equivalent to one another, they're what's called proportional. So in example 1, solve the proportion, we can think, to get from 6 to 18, I know I need to multiply by 3. So in order to solve for x, which is in the numerator, I need to take the 5 and multiply that by 3 and get an answer of x equals 15. Using that concept to then solve the next two, we have to think, well, 7 times what is going to take me to 21? I need to multiply that by 3. So I have to do 2 times 3 to then get my answer for x, giving me 6. And for the last one, 8 times what gets me 32? That would be 4. And 3 times 4 is 12, so I know x is equal to 12. Example 2. Yesterday you rode your bike 18 miles in 2.5 hours. Today you plan to ride for 3.5 hours. If you ride at the same rate as yesterday, how far will you ride? Well, to find our rate from yesterday, we have 18 miles. That took us 2.5 hours. If we find our unit rate, something that we learned about in the first lesson, we divide the 18 by 2.5, and we get a unit rate of 7.2 miles for every 1 hour. So that's our unit rate. That's how fast we're traveling per hour. Now we want to know how long it's going to take us, or how far we'll make it when we've been traveling for 3.5 hours. So we're going to take that unit rate and multiply it by 3.5. And that gets us 25.2 miles in 3.5 hours. There's other ways you could have organized your work on this. So if you found a different method, that's fine, as long as you can still show your work. All right, last example. This is a really short lesson. We are told each day an elephant eats 5 pounds of food for every 100 pounds of its body weight. How much does a 9,300-pound elephant eat per day? So we can set up a proportion here where they eat 5 pounds of food for every 100 pounds of their body weight. And if we have an elephant that has a body weight of 9,300 pounds, we can set up this proportion to then figure out, well, how many pounds of food do they eat? We can think about, well, how are we going to get from 100 to 9,300? And that would be to multiply by 93. So that means to figure out how much food they're going to eat, we're going to take 5 and multiply it by 93. And that would get us 465 pounds of food. All right. The next lesson we're going to take a look at, because we're doing 2 today, is solving proportions using cross products. So this is just going through another method that you can use to solve proportions or to determine if two ratios are equal or proportional. And that is where we multiply diagonals together. And if the diagonals, when we multiply them together, are the same, for example, 3 times 10 being 30, and if that equals the other cross multiplication of 6 times 5, which is also 30, then we can say yes, that these two ratios are equivalent. 3/5 and 6/10 are the same. This is not the only way to determine if two ratios are equal, so you might have another method, but this is just another strategy to add to your toolbox. If we take a look at the next one, 2/3 and 6/11. If I take 2 times 11, I get 22. 6 times 3 is 18. Well, those don't equal, so I would say no, those two ratios are not equivalent. So do the ratios form a proportion? So pause the video and press play when you're ready to see the answer, so you can try these ones on your own first. All right, 9 over 51 and 6 over 34. 6 times 51 is 306. Whoops. And 9 times 34 is also 306. So we can say yes, they do form a proportion. For the next one, 32 times 20 is 640. 50 times 12 is 600. And those don't equal, so we would say no. All right, keeping this concept of cross multiplication in mind, we're going to set up a proportion that we're going to have to solve, and I'm going to show you how we can apply that cross multiplication to solve it. So human hair grows about 0.7 centimeters in 2 weeks. How long does the hair take to grow 14 centimeters? So setting up our proportion, we have 0.7 centimeters in 2 weeks equal to a length of 14 centimeters in some unknown amount of weeks. So we're wanting to solve for x. So we can utilize this concept of cross multiplication, and I can multiply across 0.7 times x and get 0.7x. Then I can multiply across the other direction and do 2 times 14, giving me 28. So I've cross multiplied, and now to officially solve for x, I need to divide by the number in front of it. So divide by 0.7, and I get x equal to 40. So it's going to take 40 weeks to grow 14 centimeters of hair. I know my key online says 4 weeks, but that's because I accidentally divided by 7 instead of 0.7 like the problem had said. All right, now you're all set to work on the 10.2 and 10.3 IXL assignments that are linked below where the video is linked. Good luck. Bye.